everyone, this is Alnar from Leelee Knits Knitting and Crochet. Today I'm going to teach you how to crochet this gorgeous braided cable stitch that I used to make the Liza Throw blanket, which you can find on my website www.leeleeknits.com. Now if you're new to cable crochet stitches, don't be intimidated. This pattern is actually pretty simple once you get the hang of it. It's also super repetitive, so if you, like me, love to crochet while watching TV, then you'll love this pattern. Looking closely, we can see that the pattern is made up of a repeating 3-stitch braid separated by posts. So the braids and the posts are all made with front post triple crochets, which I will demonstrate in this tutorial. To begin, we're going to chain a multiple of 6 plus 3. So I'm going to chain 18 plus 3, which is 21. So we begin with a slip knot. And I'm assuming you already know the basics of crochet, like how to make a slip knot and how to chain. And if you don't, there's tons of tutorials online that you can look up. But for the purpose of this tutorial and to make it move by faster, I'm just going to assume that you know how to do those things. So I've attached my slip knot to my hook and I'm going to chain 21. So I yarn over and pull through a loop. And then pull through another loop, so there's chain 2, and then I'm just going to continue chaining until I have 21 stitches on my foundation chain. So I skip my first chain, and then I do a single crochet in the second chain from the hook. I like to do my when I'm working in my foundation chain, I like to do my single crochets in the bottom part of the chain rather than through the side. I just feel like the edges look prettier. So I skip the first one and then I work a single crochet in the second chain from the hook and in each remaining chain until I've completed the first row. And there's the first row of the stitch. Pretty simple, just a row of single crochets. At the end of the first row, we chain 3, and then we turn our work. And then much like the first row, the second row is also pretty simple. We just want to work a double crochet in each single crochet that we made. So for a double crochet, just yarn over, insert your hook and pull through a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through 3 loops. So I did that pretty quickly because I'm assuming that you know how to do a double crochet. If you don't, I would suggest looking it up, but it's a very basic crochet stitch. So we work another double crochet in our second single crochet, and we continue working double crochet in every single crochet until we reach the end of the row. And that's the end of row 2. So for row 1, we had a row of single crochets. And then for row 2, we had a row of double crochets. So far, pretty simple. At the end of row 2, we want to work chain 1 and then turn our work to begin row 3. So row 3 is just a row of single crochets in every double crochet. And some people get confused where to make the first single crochet. So I'm just going to show you up close that this is the last double crochet that we made in our previous row. And when we turn our work, it's the first double crochet because the work is turned. And this space right here is where we make our first single crochet. So this is our chain that we made from the previous row. And then this is where we work our first single crochet. And then we work a single crochet in every stitch until we reach the end of row 3. And don't worry if your work is starting to curl. It'll straighten out as it gets heavier. So that's totally normal. Okay, so I'm at the end of row 3, and you might wonder if this is your last single crochet or if this is the last single crochet. So this was our turning chain at the beginning of row 2 or at the end of row 1. So this does not count. So we don't want to work anything into this last stitch here. We just want to work our last single crochet into the last actual double crochet. So I just have to do one right here. And then I ignore this chain right here. And then to begin the next row, or at the end of row 3, we work 3 chains and then turn our work. And this is where we begin actually making the cabled part of this stitch. Okay, we're at the beginning of row 4, and this is by far the most complicated row of this pattern. So if you can get through this, you are all set. So we had chain 3 and turned at the end of the last row. And now the first step is to make a double crochet in each of the first 2 stitches of this row. So we make a double crochet in the first stitch, and then we make another double crochet in the stitch after that. So we have 2 double crochets, and then we want to start working our front post triple crochets to start creating that braided cable that makes the blanket look so pretty. So we want to skip, well, we're going to be working in the double crochets from the row below our last row, so we're not working in these single crochets at all when we're working with a front post triple crochets. So what that means is we work around the posts of these double crochets from the row below. So we had worked 2 double crochets to begin the row, which kind of correspond to these 2 double crochets from the row below. And then we want to skip the next double crochet. We don't want to work around this one. And then we want to work a front post triple crochet around the next double crochet. So for a front post triple crochet, we yarn around twice, and then we insert our hook from the front to the back and then around back through the front. So it looks like this. And then we yarn over and pull up a loop. And you want to do these pretty loosely so that they come up nice and tall. And then we just work a regular front post triple crochet. So yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops again, and then yarn over and pull through the final 2 loops. So we've worked our first front post triple crochet. And then we want to do the exact same thing in the stitch next to it. So in this stitch right here. So we're going to yarn around the hook twice, insert our hook from the front to the back to the front around the post of the double crochet from the row below, and then pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops again, and yarn over and pull through the remaining 2 loops. So now we have 2 front post triple crochets, and we want to work 1 more front post triple crochet in that stitch that we had skipped. So this guy right here, right in front of the one that we started with. So these guys correspond to these first 2 double crochets, and then the third one is the one that we skipped. So that's where we work our last front post triple crochet for the actual braid. So we yarn around the hook twice, and then we insert our hook from the front to the back to the front, and you can see we're working in front of these stitches made, not behind them. So don't go in like that. You want to go in front of them, which is, in my opinion, easier anyway. So you probably would just do that naturally. So I yarn over twice, and then working in front of the stitches that I just made, I insert my hook around the post from the front to the back to the front. So it looks like this. And then I work my front post triple crochet. And you can see the twist that we've created here, which is the beginning of our first braid. And then what we want to do is do a double crochet in the next stitch. So if you're confused about what the next stitch is, you can even count from behind. So you can see that we had just worked on 3 stitches. So 1, 2, 3. So this is the next stitch to work our double crochet in. So we yarn over and insert our hook, and just in the actual row that we're working on. So not in the row below now, just in the single crochet from the previous row, we work a double crochet, and that kind of just pulls it tight and nice, and it's looking really good so far. So our braids in this blanket are separated by posts, and to make the post stitch, it's pretty simple. We just work a front post triple crochet around the double crochet from the row below, like we had for our braided stitch. So in our next stitch, so this double crochet corresponds to the double crochet that we just made. So we skip this one, and then this is the next one where we want to work our front post triple crochet around. So I yarn over twice, and then I insert my hook from the front to the back to the front, and I pull up a loop, and then I work my regular front post triple crochet around that double crochet. So it looks like this. And then for the next stitch, we just want to do a double crochet in the next single crochet. So I yarn over, and then I work my double crochet in the next stitch. And again, you can verify the next stitch just by looking behind and seeing, okay, well, this is the one where I just worked, so I'll skip that, and that's the next one. And there you go. And then we want to work another braid, so we skip the next double crochet from the row below, and we start working 2 front post triple crochets around the next 2 stitches. So yarn over twice. You want to skip this guy because we're going to work in front of these 2 when we come back to him, and work our front post triple crochets. I'm just going to work a little bit faster here now to speed it up. So we have 2 here, and then we just work in front of these 2 that we just made to finish off our braid around this stitch that we skipped. And we've made another braid, and then we tie it all up by working a double crochet in our next single crochet. So we skip these 3, 1, 2, 3, because we just worked in the row below them, and then we work our next double crochet, and then we do our next front post triple crochet to create that post around the next stitch. And we work a double crochet in the next stitch. So not this one, but this one. So to finish off the row, we want to make 1 more braid and then just do a double crochet in the remaining single crochets. So we skip this. So this is the double crochet that we just did. This is the double crochet that corresponds to it. So we skip the next one, and then we work our 2 front post triple crochets for our braid in the next 2 from the row below. And then working back over these guys, in front of them, we want to finish off our braid by working a front post triple crochet around the skipped double crochet. And then we have 3 single crochets left. So you can see these are the 3 that we worked the row below, and then we have 1, 2, 3 left. And we just want to finish off by working double crochets in those single crochets. And then we chain 1 and turn our work to finish off the row. So this is what it looks like at the end of row 4. Row 5 is pretty simple. We just need to work a single crochet in every stitch that we just made. So I had chained 1 to turn at the end of the last row, and then I'm going to work a single crochet in every stitch that we made. So this is our first stitch because it corresponds to our last double crochet that we made. So I just work a single crochet in there and a single crochet in the next stitch. And just in the top of every stitch, we just want to create a nice row of single crochets just to even everything out and make it look pretty. So be careful that you don't accidentally start working on these stitches here. We want to stay at the top stitches, the ones that we actually made. These are the skipped ones that we worked in the row below. So don't do your single crochets over here. Make sure they're up here. Okay, and so I'm at my last stitch. So again, like row 3, I think it was, we want to make sure we don't work on this turning chain here. We just want to do our last single crochet in the actual last stitch that we had made, which was this double crochet here. So we work a single crochet, and we just don't do anything with this last turning chain. Just ignore it. And then we chain 3 and turn our work and begin working on the next row. Okay, so row 6 is kind of like row 4, but because we have already established where our braids and posts are, it's much easier. So once you're at this point, you should be pretty smooth sailing. So I'm just going to show you how it works. So you work a double crochet in your first single crochet, which is right there. And a double crochet in the next single crochet. And then we want to start working our braid again. So now we don't need to worry about counting like where we're going to put our stitches. We can just see where they go. So we want to skip our first front post triple crochet, and then we want to work front post triple crochets around the next 2 front post triple crochets. So this is the first one right there, and that is the second one. So we yarn over twice, insert our hook, so that's the first one, and then we work our next one, so it looks like this, and then this guy here, we want to come back and work around him. So another front post triple crochet around our skipped front post triple crochet. So so working in front of the 2 we just made, we want to insert our hook from the front to the back to the front and yarn over and pull through a loop, and then continue out how we would just make a front post triple crochet. And I'm just going to work the next stitch and then show you what it looks like. So our next stitch is a double crochet in the next single crochet. So again, you can look behind if it makes it easier and just count the 3 that we just did so we can skip those. So 1, 2, 3, and then work a double crochet in the next single crochet. And that just holds it all together. So you can see how it's starting to look like a pretty braid. And then we work a front post triple crochet around our next front post triple crochet. And then double crochet in our next single crochet. And then it creates you can see the post that's being created between the braids. and then we repeat. So front post triple crochet, skipping this first one. So you might be confused about the order, but it's just easy if you just hold them like this and look at them. So this is the one we skip, and then these two are the ones we want to work around first. So this is the first one, and then that's the second one. Okay, this is embarrassing. I've run out of yarn, so I'm just gonna quickly attach some more. So if you don't know how to attach yarn, I guess this is a good tutorial on how I do it. So this is my next ball of yarn. So I'm just gonna hold it behind like this, and then make sure I'm working with the actual long side, not the end of it, and then just continue crocheting with it, and then I just tie a knot. So I yarn over twice, and then in the skipped front post triple crochet, I'll just work front post triple crochet. Okay, and then I can, like, if you're nervous, you can just tie them right away, but I just leave them and just deal with them later. And then work a double crochet in my next stitch, and front post triple crochet around my next front post triple crochet, and then a double crochet in my next single crochet. So it's looking like this. Sorry. And then we finish it off by making our last braid when we're at our last 6 stitches. So continue with our front post triple crochets. I think you probably got the hang of them by now. Okay, so I have my last braid made, and then I want to just do a double crochet in each of my last 3 stitches. So you can see that we skip these 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we work our double crochets in the last 3 single crochets. So there's our first double crochet, and our second double crochet, and our third double crochet, and then we chain 1 and turn our work, and then you just simply repeat rows 5 and 6, and you'll have a beautiful blanket in no time. This actually builds really fast, so I think you're gonna really enjoy it, and it's just so beautiful. It looks so complicated, and I don't really think it is. I mean, once you get the hang of the front post triple crochets, it's pretty easy.